Well, good afternoon, West Ham fans. Russ, the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well. A little bit more warmer than it has been. But this morning we went through sort of the breakdown, looking at Statman Ben's stats for the game against Bournemouth and making the conclusion that it was very much 2 points dropped rather than necessarily 1 point gained, in my humble opinion. However, looking at the stats, it was a bit of a one-sided affair. So, yes. I mean, you know, it's a point. And I think there's, you got to think with the likes of Paqueta and also Somerville not available for that game. If both of them are okay, I know obviously Paqueta hopefully will be back into the side. I mean, just been a suspension, but hopefully Somerville will be back. Particularly that left-hand side will be better because it wasn't very good at all on Saturday, and the stats proved it. Anyway, it's time for a lunchtime edition of Hammer's Headlines because we've got the Academy show at 6 o'clock tonight. So rather than do, I thought we'll space it out a little bit. Why not? The Academy show, we talk about Lewis Orford returning back from his loan spell. We go through the players who have been out on loan, the Academy players, and news about the under-18 coaching position, and a bit of a pro. Obviously, we followed the 18s and a bit of a preview ahead of the 3 cup games for the under-21s in quick succession. But I must do the air horn. We will be talking about transfers in this show. You have been warned. Let's start with a name that Damien has been talking about for a long time, but according to reports, Maximilian Hahn and his recruitment team have been scouring the Belgium League by all accounts, and 2 names on the list currently ply their trade at Club Bruges. The targets have been kept under wraps. However, several sources believe to be a young centre-half and also a striker. We'll talk about the striker in a bit more detail. Promise David. He's a 6'5" striker. He's scored 24 goals in 46 appearances since joining in 2024, and he's contracted with the club until 2029. West Ham have made inquiries into David, who has no relation to Jonathan David, but was already highlighted by several, including David Bloom's data approach as well. Union Sanghalese, the side that Jonathan that Promise plays for. Tony Bloom does hold a minor stake, and that is one player we are apparently looking at. He's scored a lot of goals. He's only 24. And it's believed that he's going to be commanding a fee of around £17 million, with Leeds also interested in him. However, it's likely that maybe Brighton could hijack a potential move in the same way that 𝗛𝗥𝗢𝗢 joined from Bournemouth from Lorient, both being owned by the Black Knight Football Association. So, let's see. But and also, I think Krupi was identified by Matt Hahn as well. Brighton reported interested in signing Promise in the summer, and are likely to maybe reignite their interest in the January transfer window as well as us potentially. It's always tricky, isn't it, that multi-club ownerships in making sort of that transfer market more complex, and clubs like West Ham could find themselves at a disadvantage for that reason. It's one of those things where I know they've tried to put stuff in place, but at the same time it hasn't really done much difference. And player movement within ownership groups reduces that availability. It does inflate prices for outsiders. I think for Krupi particularly, I think we offered double than what he went to Bournemouth with. And I mean, he scored 4 goals in 8 games so far for the Cherries. So we'll keep an eye on Promise. And yes, seems a bit of a unit, doesn't he? He seems a bit of a unit. Another guy we've been linked to, another forward, is Josh Sargent, the Norwich City American international, US international. He's shown his qualities in the second division of English football regularly, and he's interested to be ready to take on a new challenge. Apparently, according to reports, West Ham sent scouts to watch him in action Remains to be seen whether we follow up with a bid, an official offer. Norwich, we know, are struggling in the Championship. They got rid of former West Ham youth team coach Liam Manning recently, and the player could be looking to make the jump to the Premier League with the likelihood of Norwich not being promoted this season. It also being a World Cup year as well. It'll be, an ideal opportunity for him to prove himself at the highest level. And whether the Canaries will want to lose a player in January who's very important to them, and can play a key role in their fight for survival, we'll wait to see. His exit would leave him short, and it could prove costly to him. Obviously, he has played Premier League football and has scored in the Premier League when Norwich were recently in there. But don't know how I feel about this. I think there's probably better players, to be honest. He's a decent player, he's a decent lump. I'd like us to probably put that money towards Promise by the sounds of it. It does seem he has a bit more about him. But we'll wait and see what happens. He's another name to add to the list. Also added to the list is, and why haven't I got his thing? Doesn't matter. Is 𝗛𝗔𝗥𝗡𝗏 Martinez of Genoa. He's someone we looked at before, a graduate of the famed Barcelona Academy. Can play centre half, centre mid, and also centre back. He spent most of his career at Girona and made 12 appearances this season, contributed 1 goal and 1 assist in La Liga. Arsenal are reportedly interested in him as well, and a €10 million bid was something they were looking at, according to Fabrizio Romano, although they may have shifted focus now to other targets. Meanwhile, the likes of AC Milan, Juventus, Napoli are all rumoured to be monitoring the former under-21 Spanish international, and Girona's asking price is expected to fall between 15 and 20 million euro. He's another player that was identified last summer by Max Hahn as well, apparently, and someone we were looking at. And again, he can play a number of positions. I think players like that are quite useful. You've got to think with the AFCONs and stuff like that, it's going to be a bit more pressure. But by the time, that would only make a difference if you buy him on the 1st of January, really. But, particularly coming to the end, with a long sort of season with the Christmas period and no international break until March, it is every game, playing, once, twice a week. And having someone like Martinez who could just slot in a few different positions is very useful. A bit like Kyle Walker-Peters, he can slot in a few different positions, and that's really useful in terms of being able to be adaptable as and when his needs are for the squad. So keep an eye on that one, I would suggest. In terms of players who are out on loan, we do that every Monday. We'll be doing the Academy players in the Academy show a bit later on. Caelan Casey. He played the full 90 minutes for Swansea City as they lost 3-0 away to Bristol City in the Championship. No match day involvement for Edson Alvarez as his Fenerbahce side won 5-2 away to Rizespor in the Super League. He wasn't involved in the match day squad at all. And that's it, my friends. As I say, keep an eye on the channel. We'll have the Academy show, the only West Ham YouTube channel out there to do a show just dedicated to the Academy. That'll be out at 6 o'clock UK time. Talking about the likes of Lewis Orford, Laurie Coggin, who's the new under-18 coach at the moment, who could be the new under-18 coach in the summer, and the under-18s through to the quarterfinals of the Premier League Cup. Obviously, we're defending champions in that tournament. So, and a little preview ahead of 3 big cup games coming up for the under-21s in quick succession. Don't forget to check out newsonmybrand.com for latest news, reviews and opinions. Don't forget to check out all of our other content as well. Like, comment, share, hype if you have any spare hypes. And until next time, my friends, I'll see you on a flippy flop. Much love. Peace out. Bye-bye.